Podcasting from Vinegar Hill, right by the Brooklyn Navy Yard. This is the Brooklyn Baritone Podcast. Hey everyone, thank you for checking me out. If you're in YouTube land, you can see this the morning as usual. If you are on the podcast listening, it is definitely the morning. You'll probably hear by the birds chirping. I thank you very much for your support. For your continued listening, it's your first time, welcome, and make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Well, anyways, I would like to get straight into my title. Are you right, or are you just prideful? I speak about this since there's so much people out there that love to be argumentative, that have to get their point across. I'm definitely one of them who likes to get their point across. But I want to hammer home the fact that just because you may think or appear to win an argument, does that mean that you are really right? So much people have a platform now, and so much people have so much information out there. Again, you know, with the whole social media thing, with the internet readily available to you. And then, of course, easily finding other people that share your same insights, foresights, taste, opinions, whatever it is. More than likely, you will find a support group or even an audience that'll support where you're coming from. But then you also have to take in consideration that you don't know everything. You also have to take into proper consideration that you could possibly be wrong at times. I try myself to be humble when I approach certain things, certain topics, what I talk about here. I don't want to be accused of misinformation. I really don't want from my heart to even suggest anything that is totally wrong, and I will look to always correct myself, you know, if I'm proven otherwise, or even if I find out through proper verbal engagement, whether it could be in the comment section somewhere or even talking to someone. And I know a lot of times people get their emotions attached and things get flared and things get out of control, but you always have to try your best to be focused. Easier said than done with most things. I'm gonna piggyback on that as well, because you have to think about when people are sharing things on social media, because, you know, you've heard the term fake news and you've seen Facebook putting people in Facebook jail, and then there's a lot of things that are spread that's misinformation. And that's a very dangerous thing, whether we believe it or not. Even when we think it's something that, you know, oh, I just posted something, I didn't know it was real or not. You never know who that's going to affect. You never know who is that going to discredit. Like case in point, someone did share with me something about a Chick-fil-A picture. And it was an employee saying, "We back the blue." So, of course, in this current climate now, mid-2020, amid coronavirus and people being unemployed, we're at, as Dave Chappelle said, we hit critical mass with people being fed up of the inequality and treatment of black people. So when I saw this picture with a Chick-fil-A person having a shirt that said "We back the blue," we like, oh wow, they look like they don't care what anyone says. It's about the cops. And they just care about the cops. You know, if you did wrong, whatever. You don't deserve justice. Anyways, after a little bit of investigating and researching online, it turns out that that shirt had nothing to do with the climate of what's going on. That's actually a local practice from that actual location in Chick-fil-A, where I believe it's either in support of local law enforcement, possibly, but not for what we think it is, or I believe it could be in support of a local school. Anyways, it's like we have to take extra care, because I'm even guilty of sharing things where I didn't know the whole story. So we have to understand, like, even though we put a point across, I just use social media as an example, but we have to make sure that we are right, because we could be doing a lot more damage than we think. And the fact of the matter is, we could just be doing damage, and then when we walk away, we have no idea what kind of destruction we left in our wake as a result of it, you know? And going back into making sure that you're right and not just prideful, we have to make sure we take the time to have intellectual humility. It is plain old humility, basically, but that's a term that I came across when I was looking up something related to what I was going to talk about on my topic. So It's one thing to be engaged actively, and I guess you could say in an argument or discussion or debate. It's healthy. But then what's not healthy is that we don't practice enough humility. When we have humility, we need to understand we have to listen as well, and the other person may have other facts that we may not have been privy to before. The other person may actually point out that what we're saying is probably totally untrue or false or misguided. We have to understand that we'll be wrong sometimes. And one of the biggest things here that I see with arguments is that people always want to get the last word in, and they always seem to want to make you look stupid. Because it's been used as a tactic, is still always all the time. If you can discredit your opponent in an argument, that somehow makes you the winner because, oh, I made them look stupid. Or I made it look like that these guys don't know what they're talking about. Or I was able to one-up them with a snarky comment all the time. And people think that's what constitutes as winning an argument or being right. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Just because you know how to out-talk someone, just because you may know their weak points, doesn't mean that you are right. Because I've heard many people discuss many things, and they talked loud, talked over people. They were spitting facts, but sometimes those facts had nothing to do with the actual situation or the subject of conversation or debate. They just pull things up, and it made the audience react. When you get a reaction of the people think that that's what constitutes. No, because a lot of times I'll look on debates on YouTube or hear people actually talk, and I'm like, but you're not really adding any value to this. Actually, what you're saying, I'm actually more lost before when I actually listen to what you're saying. That's why we have to always be humble. We have to have a certain amount of accountability when we talk, when we speak, when we engage. Whatever we want to talk about, we want to be, of course, the most knowledgeable in that subject or field or whatever it is. We always have to remember that our words have effect and impact, even if we're not going to be around to see that impact, whether it's negative or positive impact. We have to apply humility, and we are lacking an insane amount of humility, especially in this country, because, you know, Americans have a lot of pride, and Americans have, unfortunately, a history of getting what they want, how they want. You can say what you want to who you want, when you want. And people say that's Second Amendment right. That's the Second Amendment responsibility. That really wasn't meant for you to just spout off at the mouth and just curse anyone out who you want to, or to say what you want to say, how you want to say it. That wasn't the intent. The intent was to make sure that certain ideas and certain voices were not suppressed by other people. The whole idea was to make sure that people had the chance to be responsible, to share their comment or whatever idea it was they had in their mind and their heart. Not for you to just go willy-nilly and just go shooting off at the mouth. We have to make sure we take full responsibility in what we say, what we do. I'm always saying that, well, I just want to take that time to tell you guys that, basically, no stats today, no real lookups or information, because we all know what happens. And if you're that person, you have to make sure you reflect on yourself and say, you know what, let me take a step back and know that I don't know everything. Let me take a step back and know that somebody may be out there waiting to correct me because I'm going to be totally wrong. Be humble. You will grow from it. You feel better, and you have a better aspect and outlook on everything. It'll make you chill out and relax. Stop getting so wound up. Anyways, I hope I wound you guys up with that thought-provoking podcast. Make sure you check out the rest of my content and my podcast on my website, www.brooklynbaritone.com. You could also check out the rest of my content on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Brooklyn Baritone. Make sure you guys check me out on the Google Play Store, the iTunes Apple Play Store. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn under Corey Ashley. And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. Anyways, that's what I got for today. Thank you guys for listening. I am out. Be blessed. Walk good. You will hear from me next week. Peace.